Good evening, everybody. It's your favorite aspiring classicist here, a wandering author, reminding you that we're all the authors of our own lives. As always, my message remains the same. Spend less, live more, earn your freedom with frugality. And today, we're going to go over the elements of the soul, or at least three of them, part of the intellectual components. At least, Aristotle's view of these things. So remember, book 6 is all about the intellectual virtues. And yesterday we went over what exactly the intellectual virtues are in comparison to the virtues of character. They're ones that we use to discern truth and things like wisdom or practical judgment. So today, we're going to learn about the difference between making something and doing something. And now, there are three elements of the soul which control action and the attainment of truth: sensation, intellect, and desire. So those are his three components of the soul, at least the ones that are concerned with attaining the truth. Of these, sensation never originates action, as is shown by the fact that animals have sensation, but are not capable of action. So, let me repeat that one. So, there are three parts: sensation, intellect, and desire. And of those, sensation does not have anything to do with action. Aristotle uses the fact that animals have sensations, but they're not capable of action. So he's not just talking about acting at all. Obviously, animals are capable of some action. He's talking about rational thought. Being able to plan out a goal. You don't see any aardvarks doing any goal setting. At least I never have. Maybe they do. We are here speaking of practical thinking and of the attainment of truth in regard to action. So, again, these things have to do with how we act, or how we make decisions about what we do. With speculative thought, which is not concerned with action or production, right and wrong functioning consists in attainment of truth and falsehood respectively. So, for Aristotle, he divides thought up into two types. Speculative thought, which is like just thinking, it doesn't come out into the real world at all. That is only associated with discerning truth and falsehood, respectively. The attainment of truth is indeed the function of every part of the intellect, so attaining truth is associated with all the aspects of the intellect, but that of the practical intelligence is the attainment of truth corresponding to right desire. So desire is the third component. Now, the cause of action is choice, and the cause of choice is desire, and reasoning directed to some end. So we act whenever we decide to act. Sounds, pretty clear. But what is it that causes us to make a decision? Well, Aristotle says it's either desire, we either want to do something, or reasoning directed to some end. We've thought about it, like we've set a goal and we've decided this is how we're going to achieve it. Thought by itself, however, moves nothing. So just thinking doesn't do anything. You just sit in your room and think all day, but that doesn't mean anything's going to change. But only thought directed to an end and dealing with an action. So only, goal-directed thinking and thoughts that have to do with what you're actually going to do. This indeed is the moving cause of productive activity also, since he who makes something always has some further end in view. The act of making is not an end in itself. It is only a means and belongs to something else, whereas a thing done is an end in itself, since doing well is the end, and it is at this that desire aims. So Aristotle seems to believe that the only things we desire are things that are going to make us do well. But he brings up a really interesting point, and I'll ask you this question. What's the difference between making something and doing something? It's actually a much deeper question than it first appears. It seems like it'd be really simple, but Aristotle's answer is pretty much what I agree with. So if you make something, that's not the end goal. It's only making something is the means to an end. So let's just say you're making a sculpture. What are you doing? You're making a new thing. It's creative. Doing something could be like going for a walk or eating food. There is no creative act in those. There's nothing new that comes out of going for a walk or eating, unless you consider going to the bathroom. Hence, choice may be called either thought related to desire or desire related to thought. And man, as an originator of action, is a union of desire and intellect. So it's our combination of intellect and desire that allows us to originate action. The attainment of truth is then the function of both the intellectual parts of the soul. Therefore, their respective virtues are those dispositions which will best qualify them to attain truth. So how do we use our intellectual virtues? Well, we know we have the intellectual virtues if we're good at figuring out the truth. Pretty simple. They're pretty straightforward. And then that's all we've got today for chapter 2. Sensation, intellect, and desire. 3 components of the soul. I like it. To me, to be honest, like, it seems like Aristotle is almost talking more about psychology than actual souls. Because sensation, we definitely went over that in physiological psychology when I was in college. Intellect, again, intelligence, and then desire, like what we want. I don't know. Those things to me appear to be part of a psychological framework that Aristotle's building up. So let's see. Later on, we've got plenty of more books to go over. He's got 10 in just the Nicomachean Ethics, and we're only on 6, so we've got plenty to learn. That's all I've got for you guys today. This is a wandering author here, reminding you that we're all the authors of our own lives. As always, my message remains the same. Spend less, live more, earn your freedom with frugality. What are you guys doing in order to inspire, uplift, and empower your local community today? Because this world isn't changing unless we all do our part, and you can count on me to do mine daily. Till next time, love y'all.